and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze. Photo, please, no photos. G's, no, please, no photos. Hit the door and the doorman just whole team here might need some. Still young, but I move like a new deal to my lawyer. If it down in my management, I'm just warming up a way till I old producers saw the numbers one. Different colors in my baggy light. Chalk it up, talk of the town where you're talking up. Wanna get you a ring and you tough enough. Wanna get you new things with your pockets dull. Run it up. I used to be quiet and out of luck. Now I move up and move humble cause the hate and the jealousy. My mama telling me count up your blessings and run it up. Nowadays nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze. Photo, please, no photos. G's, no, please, no photos. I keep giving game away. I put game on layaway. I got paid to play today. I get paid to stay away. I get paid on rainy days. I might make it rain today. I got paid off pain today. Thought it'd take the pain away. In my own lane, finger roll. I would never sell my only soul. Heard your whole team was for sale. Heard it's on the market for the low. Who the realest, we might never know. All this acting, you gon' play a role. Give you the world when they sign you up. Try you out and then they line you up. Ooh, now you're looking hungry, ribs are touching, need some food. Now you're all on live acting surprised, but you was fooled. Boy, get out the way, it's been a day, now you're old news. Now you got the pen and pad, you're trying to take my moves. Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze. Photo, please, no photos. G's, no, please, no photos. Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze. Photo, please, no photos. G's, no, please, no photos. DD, that's me. DD, that's me. DD, DD, that's me. DD, You wear a hat they call dad. Me, I'm the dad in a hat. You just like clubbing and clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3 happy meals for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a mama. The mama loves me and I love her, so if she wants something, it's never a bother. 3 little ladies, my babies, and 1 on the way. Now I'm stressing my mama. And don't try to play around, don't try to play with them unless you're looking for problems. So don't try to play around, don't try to play with them. My brother's out with the drama. 4 to 5 nights on the road, counting the days till I'm home. I could do show after show, but nothing is better than home. Driving through nights I'm alone, counting the days till I'm home. I've been on road, I'm on go, but nothing is better than home. Clicking my heels like I'm Dorothy. I need new hobbies, it's boring me. Play all my kids and it's water me. I see new loafers, I'm ordering. I just bought socks and stocks. I feel on top to top. Shipping, I pop, I pop. Still young in my 20s, I celebrate. This one for the dads, let me dedicate. Head of the house like the head of state. Bring home the cash and the dinner plate. I go, I zoom, accelerate. I cannot be bought at some bargain rate. I got on my bacon, my body weight. I stay in the crib like a quarantine. I stay in the crib and I isolate. Making my way, watch me demonstrate. I ain't no special, I'm a tidal wave. I came to win, I ain't gonna play. At my own pace and I'm never late. See the strap thing is still new to me. Might only do this for like 2 or 3. I'll be down as long as it's true to me. Got records, some records that's new to you, but none of these records is new to me. I used to skip class, now I'm tutoring. I was just a team with a GED. On paper was worth like a couple G's. That hustle and work, nothing new to me. Look back now, I'm worth like an Amazon. Never underestimate G.O.D. Don't give me what I want, but what I need. D.D. that's me. 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 D.D. that's.
What's going on, everybody? Officially, get my camera to fucking focus on my ugly ass. I'm not wearing a cap today. For everybody who gives me shit about wearing a cap, I am wearing a fucking pullover, so sorry about it. Anyway, welcome to officially episode 2 of the podcast. Like I said, we're going to keep this going as much as possible. and we're gonna roll with it, man. So, I unfortunately I didn't have previous broadcasts saved on the channel. I don't know when I turned that off, but this one will be saved to the channel, so you guys can check it out afterwards. And if you have to dip out, then you know, um, feel free to come back and check out what you missed. But anyway, I'm joined again. It's just going to be myself and Stumpy today. We're just going to do a kind of a one-on-one thing, a little bit more preparation this time, not so much a spur of the moment situation. But again, joined by Stumpy. Stumpy, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, thanks, bro. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I can't complain. Sunday
Good to hear.
evening for you guys, afternoon for me. So, I'm not really too upset. You excited for today's topics?
I am ecstatic for today's topics, and I'm also
Sir.
loving your skin fade, my good sir.
Hey, I appreciate that, bro. We're not on a full-time lockdown, so I can go get my hair cut every once in a while. It's not too bad.
Yeah, easy for some.
Oh, fair enough. Hey, I've been through that, bro. I had to grow my hair out, and then I tried to let Lara do a fade. We were like, let's just roll with it. Looked in the mirror, and I was like, shave it off. It's got to go. Like, it's the middle of the summer. Like, so I was like, I'm wearing hats full time for the next, 2 months. Let this grow back, and we're just going to leave it as is from now on. So, been there, bro. Been there. Trust me. But, yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. We got a pretty good list of topics to go on. I've seen everybody in the chat. Charlie, what's up, man? Dan, what's going on, bro? Mango, Raj is in the building. Davey, what's going on, bro? Hope you've been well. Wake's in here, of course. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys. We want you guys to be as interactive as possible because today we've got a full list of CDL topics to go over. We're going to go over just basically the CDL entirely, give some opinions on what we think about the league in general. We're going to go into a little bit deeper of a dive on some teams who we think are maybe the best, some of the maybe the worst, and then maybe a dark horse or two that we see in the league could possibly perform kind of like Florida did last year. We're going to talk about some players who we think is going to be atop the league at MVP, who we think is going to kind of have a bit of a rough go in this year's CDL. We're going to give you guys some power rankings. We're going to go over, again, who we think is going to finish at the top, who we think is going to finish at the bottom, everywhere in between. And then overall, we're going to give you who we think is going to be the champion. And we ran a giveaway on the Elysian Twitter account. You guys know that thing went nuts. We're on the road to 500 followers for that account. We're very, very close. If you guys aren't following the Elysian Twitter, go follow right now, Elysian Esports _. Give us a follow, guys. We're like 10 away from 500, but we're going to draw that giveaway winner right at the end. So looking forward to that. But anyway, Stumpy, bro, let's dive right into it, man. We're going to talk about first the CDL overall and give our general opinion of kind of what we think about the league specifically, right? I mean, it could be anything. Just in general, maybe what we think is really, really good, what we think is really, really bad. So, Stumpy, man, start us off, dude. What do you think about CDL year number 2?
I'm excited for it, to be honest. I thought last year it was a big change, everything turning into franchising for obviously the first season of the CDL last year after changing from CWL. I personally enjoyed it having all the franchise, and there was a lot more. You'd get a lot more attached to your team rather than just like a couple of players. I found myself last year being a big Chicago Huntsman fan, and with the introduction of LA Thieves this year, I've kind of switched over a little bit, so it spices things up a little bit. And I think a lot of people follow quite a lot of these bigger orgs, and a lot of people have seen what a lot of these orgs have had to show from last year. And I think people have a better understanding of what's going to happen this year, and I'm really looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a really good season, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully they work out some of the kinks. I mean, they kind of gave each individual franchise control of their own merchandise for the year. It wasn't sort of the same thing over and over again, just with a different team logo on it. So happy that they were kind of able to take control of that. Some of them kind of shit the bed on that one, but others did a very, very good job. We saw that in the launch, but yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I was hoping for an expansion. Happy to see Nate Shot and the Thieves back in the league. I hope that they do perform well. I'm an Optic Gaming fan through and through, and I'll clarify that I was a Huntsman fan last year, obviously, but I've been following Scump and Hector for geez, I mean, well, probably everybody has, but been a fan for a long time. So happy to see Optic back. I was surprised that they were able to get that completely rebranded to Optic, but I think it makes sense because they gave that sort of merch control to each individual franchise. But yeah, man, I'm pumped. There new rivalries, of course, brand new rosters.
Insanely exciting ones.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, we kind of got a little bit of a taste of it in that taste here a couple of weeks ago, but yeah. So overall, man, yeah, I think it's going to be a good year, a better game. Well, we hope. We still have to worry about fixing smokes and hopefully get some snipers back into S&D, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Hopefully, just no no gun nerfs just before champs. Let's hope not. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Oh dear, yeah. I would love to see snipers and smokes come back into play, man. Honestly, makes
Yeah.
S&D just that much more interesting to watch.
It really does, man. It adds that extra level of just you have to be a bit more strategic. You can't peek certain spots because one bullet from a Krig won't kill you. One from the sniper, it will. And you got to
Exactly.
be a bit more mindful of guys who they know how to use a sniper and they will take over a map if necessary. But yeah, agreed, man. Super pumped. So, in terms of this year's teams, we've got a new franchise in the Thieves. Let's talk about our predictions on or who we think is going to be the best, who we think is going to be the worst, or who. Let's more specifically, let's just talk about who we think are the handful of the best teams in the league. Give me a rundown on who you think is going to be constantly winning, taking home chips, and going to be a threat to win the whole thing.
After watching the kickoff weekend, which was probably a couple of weeks ago now, I kind of made my own little predictions for the season. And if you said to me I had to pick the 4 top teams as of right now, I would have told you Dallas Empire. They looked absolutely lights out in the kickoff weekend. I
Yep.
thought they were by far one of the better teams. Optic. I thought Optic were the other lights out team that I would have said, okay, that's something you got to be seriously aware of if you are one of these other teams. And I see you in the face cam there. You'd be an idiot to not say FaZe. That roster is from head to toe. You can't pull out a bad spot on them. They have everything you could ever need in a roster. They've got 4 absolutely incredible individuals that I'm expecting a lot from this year. I think anything other than top 2 is a bit of an L for them, to be honest. And
Yep.
my 4th team, I would put Mutineers. Their opening weekend, obviously beating FaZe 3-2, amazing. I thought all 5 games were so closely contested. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. That was probably the most enjoyable hour and a half I had of that whole weekend.
Yep.
Those would be my top 4 teams going into the season right now, though. How about yourself, Harry?
I'm gonna agree. Yeah, I mean, I think just from what we see from scrims from Optic, and this decision is going to come a little bit biased, but they are showing right now that they are a top 4 team without a question.
Oh yeah.
You have to put FaZe in that category. You've got Simp and Abizi are no longer the new kids around. They are an incredible SMG duo. They have the experience. They've been around. They've been they won champs 2 years ago. They went to the finals and lost to Dallas last year. So they're seasoned at this point. And you got guys like Celium and now Arcides, who seems to be finding his way in that main AR role a bit more day by day. Yeah, you got to put FaZe up there. Dallas Empire, the reigning champs, coming in and just shutting the subliners down a couple of weeks ago. I know Clayster went on Twitter and said, GG's on the scrim, but buddy, that was like televised gameplay. That's not a scrim. That's a tone
he was a bit
setter.
salty about that.
I think so. I think so. I think if they win 3-0, he doesn't say GG's on the scrim. We win 3-0. I think he takes it a bit more seriously. But he's got to he's got to kind of downplay it a little bit. I think he wants to make sure that the confidence stays high. But definitely, and then Florida. I mean, they were underestimated all year last year, and Awakening is coming in as one of the best players that I think carrying over from Modern Warfare. They got the new kid Neptune in. There's a little bit of drama around that we'll talk about as well. But yeah, I agree. And we'll talk about the order later on. But yeah, I think those are the top 4. Who would you say are, just based on performances, and kind of how you see these rosters shaping up. Who do you think are going to be some of the teams that are going to be struggling to win some of these events and maybe not even make it really far in champs?
For me, I feel like the bottom three are relatively clear cut for me. That sort of fourth last spot was one I had a little bit of trouble picking. Um, as far as the bottom four go, I think LAG are gonna struggle for another season. Obviously, they have three of the reigning 4v4 world champs in Silly, Assault, and Apathy, which, don't get me wrong, obviously says something for itself. They're all veterans in their own right. They are all obviously incredible players. I think they're a team that's really going to struggle this year, just plainly for the talent that is on all these other rosters. Um, One of the other teams being London. I am personally not a massive fan of this London roster. After hearing some behind the scenes stuff from Scraps' stream the other night, there might be some underlying issues there at some point between Dylan and Alex, from what I can understand. But we'll have to wait and see. And the third team that I found quite easy to put in that bottom four was Surge. I don't know what it was. They just have. It is a really good team. Having Gunless on that team, I really like. Obviously, Gunless and Octane have worked together before. They've been a good teammate duo in the past. But Gunless is a very explosive player. He's the sort of player that, again, you look at last season, he was on the Chicago Huntsmen at the start of the year. I can't remember the exact date. I believe it was somewhere around the March, April sort of time. He was off their roster all of a sudden because of internal issues. And the other team, I feel like I probably rank these a little bit higher than a lot of people would, but it's Paris Legion. I think they've got a lot coming into this year. They've got a lot of they've got a lot to show, to be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously they've got their new kid, they got Fire. A lot of people have not got a clue what he's about. I've seen few scrims from them, but from the scrims that I have seen, it's basically been from sort of Optic's point of view. And obviously Optic being one of the top teams, Legion haven't put up a bad show against them. I was a bit cautious to put them in the bottom four, but there's a lot of these other rosters, I couldn't bring myself to put them in the bottom four for me. So that's pretty much where I stand on the situation, Harry.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with most of it. And here's what I'm gonna flip some things around. I just like to do this to just twist a knot in some people's theories. I don't think Legion are going to be a bottom four team. I think
Okay.
I think Aqua. I mean, after watching him play last year, and seeing how he performed in the kickoff weekend, I think Aqua's going to be a game changer for them in this game. Scrap's obviously a solid SMG. I think you know these pros probably have seen Fire play before. We haven't really seen too much of him. He might be underestimated. So I don't think they'll finish bottom four. I agree with pretty much everything else you said. I'm up and down on LAG, and the reason is kind of what you alluded to was they're experienced. They're experienced. They're the reigning 4v4 champions. 75% of that roster reigning 4v4 champions, and
Yeah.
you got to think maybe that holds some weight going into the year. And we may see a roster change or two on LAG. I don't know. They very well could easily finish bottom four. I think they'll bounce around that area, but I'm kind of 50-50 on putting them middle of the pack between top four and bottom four, and possibly bottom four.
Yeah.
I personally, I think the New York Sublighters are going to struggle this year. I think they're going to have a tough time competing with even some of these revamped middle of the pack rosters. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to run with these big teams like Dallas, and we saw that in the kickoff weekend. Again, this is judging based on what we've seen so far in the outlook of their roster. Hydra's having visa issues. He's likely not going to be able to play this year, or at least not for a while. They've got a guy like Diamond Khan coming in. I don't see him being that sort of difference maker for the subliners. So we'll see what happens there, but those are kind of the things that I would say maybe something to consider. I definitely see that Surge roster having some issues. You've got a guy like Pristini who's bouncing up and down. Sometimes he blows it up, but a lot of times he's really, really, really struggling to put up some decent numbers. Looney's coming back into the league. He's got to knock the rust off a little bit, so we'll see how he does. And you know, Octane's got a pretty big ego. I know he's good at what he does, but he's been classified as a relatively selfish player. Goes for kills on his own, doesn't necessarily plant himself in his role as well as he should. That's not to say he can't play that role, but that's sort of kind of been the hearsay around the league. And you got a guy like Gunless who he doesn't seem to get along with really anyone. And it's gonna be tough. So we'll see how it shapes up. And I think you're right. I mean, let's. What do you think a dark horse team? If there's one team, just by looking at things right now, Uris Pingo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. One team, dark horse, that you would say people wouldn't expect to win the league today. Who would you say that team would be, and why?
I had a lot of thought about this over the last sort of week or so. I've just been spitballing in my own head, thinking about how this season could go. I've come to the conclusion of Minnesota Rocker. At the start of the season, had you asked me, I would have said probably not, because it was starting to look like Crossroads and Garrison were going to be very sort of 3 SMG metas, maybe. You had a lot more sort of aggressive styles of play, and having Accuracy and Major Maniac. Obviously, Major Maniac can obviously play an SMG like just as well as a lot of players, but he wasn't going to light up the map for you.
Mm-hmm.
But having seen them in the kickoff weekend and having seen a couple of scrims from them, you've got Priester and Attach just absolutely frying. Major Maniac, as per usual, putting up great numbers across the board. And the major thing for me was you've got Accuracy in that team. A lot of people don't rate Accuracy. I don't know how many people sat here right now can say that they sat there and watched World War II champs. But Accuracy he was a pivotal part of that. I believe it was Team Caliber team at the time, and they had a lot. So. They had a lot of success through that year, and he is a big IGL for that team. I think Minnesota Rocker could end up coming away with a chip or two this year, that a lot of people wouldn't quite expect.
Yeah. There's been a lot of negative publicity around the whole Accuracy sensor situation, and we saw what the Thieves came out with. They talked about how they could 1v1 Chow Accuracy. They all agreed. I definitely think Accuracy is underrated. Do I rate him super high? No, not necessarily. He's got to prove something, because last year he really, really struggled. And that's a 5v5 situation. So we'll write that one out for him. But he's not yet really blown me away in some of the scrims we've seen, especially against Chicago. So we'll see how he's able to step it up in that roster. And like you said, having those two guys who are ideally your main AR type players, I thought that roster was kind of interesting in a 4v4 scenario. I know Major Maniac kind of planted himself in that main AR role last year. So, we'll see how that shapes up. I definitely agree. They definitely could be a dark horse. I'm gonna throw a massive curveball at you guys, and I'm gonna say that, you know, we saw it towards the end of the year last year. I'm gonna say a team like Toronto Ultra could definitely be a dark horse. And we saw a guy like Bance really, really show out in the kickoff weekend. I mean, he had superstar-like numbers and was taking over games. If Kleenex steps up and carries over some momentum he had last year into this year, Methods has proven to be a really solid main AR. I think they can make a pretty serious run in champs. So I'd say for me, Toronto Ultra absolutely could be that dark horse, but again, you never know. I mean, it could be Fire could be the MVP of the league, and Paris could win it all. You know, I mean, you just never know, man. But based on what I've seen so far, I could definitely see a team like Toronto coming in and surprising everyone. They'll likely be underestimated because their roster doesn't look amazing if you just look at it. But with the way Kleenex kind of performed, nothing like a rookie would have performed last year in these events, winning one of the last events, or maybe was it the last event last year before champs?
It was the last event.
Yeah, I think maybe they're able to carry some of that over. They keep essentially the same team apart from one, so that chemistry's already there. So yeah, I think just kind of throw a curveball. I think Toronto Ultra, man. I don't like what they did in that situation with what was that player's name they were kind of having some struggles with in terms of his family situation.
Classic?
No, it wasn't Classic.
I can remember the situation. I can't remember the player though.
Yeah. So that kind of led me to respect LAG a lot more. I thought the name Los Angeles Guerrillas was really shit. I still think it is. I think that brand is awful. I was really hoping that they kind of switch things up and say, obviously keep the franchise, name it something different, man. Gorillas, I mean, that's not even. I wouldn't think of any pro sport anywhere in the world that would name themselves the Gorillas. I just, yeah, but I love what they did as a franchise. So that's
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, that's my dark horse pick that I'll go with. Let's shift a little bit over to some of the players. So I think we could stick on this for a little bit, and we've got plenty of time to do so. Wake said he hopes Silly isn't watching. I never said anything about Silly, and if the man's getting paid, if the Gorillas called me and said, "Yo, I want to pay you this amount of money per year, and that's enough," sign me up. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, I still think that naming themselves the Gorillas is pretty not so great. Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, would I kiss some ass for a big stack of money? Yeah, I love the Gorillas if it comes down to it. Yeah, that's a great name, man. That makes perfect sense. But no, yeah, Silly's not watching anyway, bro, so it's okay. Gorillas, change your name, I beg. But but let's move into players. Let's focus solely on who we think is going to struggle this year. Let's talk about a handful of players who you think, just based on how the roster is going to shape up, the role they're going to play, and the difference between Modern Warfare and Cold War, everything that's changed. Who do you think are going to be some of the players who are going to really, really struggle to perform well this year?
I think you're going to have a lot of just average players across the board for a lot of the season. Having said that, I do still think there will be players that struggle. I think the players that are going to struggle are going to be the players that also struggled last year for the majority of the year. I'm looking towards sort of people like Alex on the Minnesota Rocker, obviously now on the London Royal Ravens. Again, on the Ravens side, you have Parasite, who hasn't been in the pro scene for a couple of years. He's filling in for Zero at the minute, so we don't know exactly how long he's going to be here, but he is someone that I think myself and a lot of other people would have a big question mark over his head for that sort of reason. You then also have to look at sort of Neptune and Fire having just come in from the AMS scene, and you have to think, how are they going to perform? But I was very impressed with Neptune in the opening weekend, and Fire alike as well, to be fair. I don't think there's going to be many people that truly struggle to the point where it's blatantly obvious throughout the year. But those are probably the three players that I have the biggest question marks over. You could maybe chuck Vivid in there as well from LAG. Obviously, I haven't seen a great deal of him. We saw him a bit last year. Come towards the end of the year, he was a good player for LAG at the end of the year, especially in S&D. He's getting a lot of first blood. He was a very Abeezy type player, but the better teams, after sort of a couple of good events, they started getting put back into the mincer a little bit.
Yep.
But those are probably the players I got the biggest question marks over, to be perfectly honest with you, Harry.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's always fair to say guys like Neptune, guys like Fire, you can always put the new guys on the block in that category of likely to struggle or possibility to struggle higher than others. Because you could see, superstars like Simp out of nowhere just struggle to put it together all year. Is that going to happen? No, I'd put big money that it doesn't. But you still never know. So I do agree with that. I think a player like Temp's going to struggle. The reason I say that is because you've got. I think it could bounce between Temp and TJ. Kenny and Slasher have always talked about teaming with Temp. I think Temp's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He barely made a roster, and it looked like he could be without a job in the pro scene this year. Comes in and just hasn't looked amazing so far. Obviously, LA got trampled by Optic in the opening weekend, and Temp never really looked like he was able to put it together. I think a guy like TJ has a much better year because he typically performs on these types of games, whereas Modern Warfare, he really kind of never got it together. So I could definitely classify a guy like Temp coming in and struggling. You could even put a guy like, as much as you guys might judge me for this, you could see a guy like maybe Mac struggling. And the reason why is he found his comfort zone in that roster. And there's been so many changes apart from Zuma on New York subliners to where Mac as sort of his sophomore year coming into the season, he may start to really kind of, maybe the vibes aren't there, maybe things aren't clicking. Diamond Con's coming in, so there's another rookie right there, and all of a sudden Mac's no longer like the newest kid on the block, and he's only got 1 year under his belt. So I think, anybody could struggle at any point. We could also point to players like maybe Pristini. I
Yeah.
think Looney as well. You could kind of classify him as an AM coming into the pro scene. He's got pro experience, I know, but he's been out of it for a bit. Same thing with Parasite, so you can put those guys in there as well. I think we could go on and on about the possibilities of players struggling, but if I were to steer away from the new kids, I would say someone like Looney, even though he's kind of new, and I would say Temp as well could possibly struggle this year. But again, you never know, man. You really just
Yeah. I mean,
things could click and people take off.
Temp did pop into my head. The reason I didn't say him was just plainly for the fact that Slash is on that team. The guy, it either works or it doesn't, and if it doesn't work, it's not going to be Slasher leaving the team. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Like the guy has an insane amount of drive. He will make the worst, not the worst. Sorry, he'll make the best out of the worst situations. I don't think LA Thieves are going to start all that hot. I think sort of they're going to do a bit of a Dallas Empire, maybe not win champs like last year, but I think they're going to start a little bit slower and then sort of pick it up maybe a third of the way through the season and then keep it on an upward trend from there.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I would have loved to have seen them go and grab a guy like Priesta, as opposed to Temp. Just to kind of bring that old 100T squad back in action. Made that
I would love that, honestly.
Incredible losers bracket run. I mean, that's what you want to see, and maybe that's what happens. Maybe they put it together right towards the end of the year, and they grind it out and make it work and push for top 3 in champs. Dude, yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think a team like 100T is gonna win champs. I don't see it with these experienced loaded rosters out there. No way. No way.
No.
So this is a little bit easier, I'd say. Again, there's so much unknown, but we already know the best players in the league. We know who's going to be top performers. So let's just go down your list. I mean, not in any specific order. We don't want to give anything away because we're going to get some MVP predictions rolling here in a bit. Who are some of your top players in the league right now who if you had all the money in the world, you would bet huge that these guys would perform be the best of the best all year long? Monks is saying formal right now, and I mean,
he's not wrong, to be honest. I don't think he'll be an MVP candidate, but nonetheless, I think he is going to be a pivotal player this year.
Oh yeah, Matthew Piper is on Texas Net, baby, and he's
for me.
he's something special again, man. So it's good to see. So tell me, man, who do you got sitting in that category of top players in the league come end of the year?
I think you'd be an idiot to not say last year's MVP winner, Shotzi. Especially after that kickoff weekend, the guy was lights out. Honestly, his movement around the map he just looks like he's on ice. And then again, you would again just be an idiot to not say Simp, would you? Yep. The other 3 that I've got written down in front of me, I got Celium. I think Celium's I think he's an incredible player. I think a lot of people, harsh to say underrated because obviously he's still rated very highly. I think a lot of what he does doesn't go as appreciated as it needs to be half of the time, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He might not get all the stats, but I feel like he's the guy that does quite a lot of the dirty work for that phase roster, especially last year.
Yep.
Another one would be Envoy. I think from what I've seen scrim-wise this year from Optic, Envoy has been arguably my personal favourite player throughout the year so far. He has been an absolute joy to watch. I've seen scrims where the guys drop in sort of 40 and 9 on people, and it's like, whoa, okay, like that clearly says something for itself.
Absolutely.
And the other player that I had down was bit of a out of the box one, but I put Awakening. Obviously we've only seen him online, and we can't say for now for sure if there's going to be any LAN events towards the end of the year. But from what we've seen from him online, he's been that level among these other four players that I've listed. He's been like, you look at the kickoff weekend, he was every single time you'd see him, he was just getting 2-piece, 3-piece. He was
Oh yeah.
he was making the big plays for you basically. He was a massive player, and I think he's going to carry that through for the whole year.
Yeah.
Those were my sort of five, that handful that I would have said MVP candidates for the start of the year. But
Okay.
obviously, a lot of people would have different opinions.
Oh, I mean, again, I mean, there's who people have been following their entire lives. I mean, some people are glued to certain people, and hey, it sounds like you've got an admirer, Mr. Mango, in the chat who just loves your voice, by the way. But Beaksy, by the way, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to the podcast. I agree with obviously these top players, man. You've got a guy, Shotzi. He's the guy's incredible. By the way, there's a reason I selected him in the first round of the fantasy draft. So
yeah,
and he's off limits completely. And it's the man. He's staying around unless you want to give me like a lot. So, but no, Shotzi's definitely going to be up there, man. I mean, he really came to form, and when I heard rumors of him potentially going back to Halo months and months ago, I was like, please, man, just a player like that's so good for the game. And he kind of sat, Dallas Empire from my perspective, because I'm a Seth fan, and Optic going into the Huntsman, and I was cheering for the Huntsman, and he kind of played that role of villain. The Dallas Empire did it the entire year. They were the villains the entire year, and he wasn't really positively recognized by a lot of the massive fan base that Chicago had the entire year last year. They were like, oh man, go back to Halo, this and that. It was a popular chant at CDL London last year, was telling Shotzi to go back to Halo. But once he caught form, you really kind of understood why Dallas wanted him so badly to be in Call of Duty. So glad he stuck around. Definitely think he's a game changer and an MVP candidate. I do agree that Formal's going to be up there, but I'm going to take a different Chicago player, and I'm going to say that Dashy. That if he keeps his head in the game, continues to show up to scrims, it looks like the vibes are there from what we've seen on YouTube. And I mean, you've seen the guy in 8s, you've seen the guy in scrims. He is mowing people over, and looks like he's back in action, man. It's the Dashy that we want to see. I could see Dashy putting up massive numbers this year and blowing the league away by himself. So Shotzi, Dashy going to be up there for me. Would love to see Seth make a good run to come back and kind of maybe possibly end his career on a really, really high note. That's a little bit, selfish of me to say that. But
he's been frying this year.
He has been, man. He's kind of back in the Black Ops. He's feeling it.
He's found his groove.
Yeah, 100%. And you have to put Simp up there. I think he's been frying for several years, man. I mean, he put the kill record up on Arklov. Well, no, it wasn't Arklov. It was Zir Cave. Was
broke
going
it twice.
off.
He set it and then broke his own record.
I know. He's insane, and I do think Celium is a slightly underrated player. I don't think he'll push for MVP just because of how talented his roster is. I think if maybe you take away a guy like Simp, maybe a Beezy, I think you start to see Cell kind of really step up a bit more. But just the slaying power on that team, I think Simp's going to get the spotlight alongside of Beezy with what they're able to do. So definitely, definitely. I mean, we've got a pretty loaded professional league this year in terms of talent. But if someone were to say, Stumpy, here's a fat stack of cash, you need to pick an MVP today, and you got to bet all of it on this one person, who's it going to be?
I wasn't expecting to be put on the spot like that, man.
Yo, you should have been, dude. It's my podcast. Ooh. What do you mean?
I'm gonna say Simp. I think from the start of the year, obviously FaZe went on that incredible. I don't know what it finished on. That I think they were sort of like 80-0 on map count at the start of the year in their scrims. It's just incredible. And albeit they not slowed down a little bit. Other teams caught up with them a little bit, but since you've seen I've heard that Simp went on a 23 streak against subliners in a garrison control, and subliners might have rage quit, but that's maybe not something to get too into. But if I had to put all of my money on it, I'd say Simp. I think it's a hard one to say no to Simp any year. But for last year, for me, if it was whoever won champs, Dallas won champs, so Shotzi got it. If FaZe won champs, Simp would have got it. That's all it. Obviously, he won it the year before with the United and BO4.
Yeah,
he is a special talent.
He is. Yeah, he is. I think that's a pretty safe bet, but scared money don't make money, baby. And I'm going to go back to what I was talking about before. I'd put all that money on Dashy, bro. I talked about it for a second. Yeah. Dude is putting up numbers that we don't normally see. If you drop into a pro 8's lobby and you put up nearly 10,000 damage, I mean, something's going right. So I think Optic are going to take massive leaps this year. I think as long as, like I said, he keeps his head right, the vibes continue. He keeps showing up to scrims, puts in that time like he already has. Dashy's got the talent, man. You know what he's capable of. But putting that XM4 in his hand, especially in respawns, man, he's a different animal this year. So, like I said, scared money don't make money, baby, and I'm going to put my money on Dashy if I had to. I know it's a little bit of a dark horse. I'm interested to know. I think we got like 15 people in here. I think we got like 15 people in here. We know Monks likes formal. So I think safe to say him and Wake are probably going to get on the formal train, but curious
Wake's
to know.
Got 20 quid on Dashy up here. What are you on about?
Oh, I missed that. My man Wake, let's go, baby. Yeah, I missed that, dude. I think Dashy's the guy, man. I think he's going to be a difference maker on that Optic team. Envoy's really stepped into more of a leadership role. You've got Seth who's coming back into form, and you got Forma who's on that Texas net, man. When you put that squad around you, man, like it's last year I looked at it and I look at FaZe. And then towards the end of the year, I start looking at Dallas. I'm like, damn, like I'm a Huntsman fan, but those guys, like, I don't think we could really run with those boys. Dashy for sure. Yeah, Capelli. By the way, appreciate the sub earlier. That was amazing. Start the stream off, instant sub. Thank you so much. Dashy's gonna put up.
Absolute boy.
Yeah, and now you look at the rosters, like I was saying before, and you're like, okay, Optic they're up there, man. Like they're when instead of the Huntsman thinking, damn, we got to play FaZe, we really got to step up. I think now it's both of them are saying we got to be at our peak form to be able to take this one away because we know what the other side's bringing. So yeah, 100%. That's who I would put my money on. But we've got an interesting little segment for you. We're gonna go over some preseason predictions and give you some power rankings. We're going to give power rankings, but the purpose of these power rankings are not only who we think are going to be where they are now, but who we think are going to be there at the end of the year. And then we're going to give you guys who we think are going to win champs, and we'll move into the selection for the giveaway. So let's order the bottom four, man. Let's go in order on the bottom four. Let's start this one out. Who do you think? Go from 12 to 9. Who do you think are going to be bottom and working up to the 9th seed in the league?
So from 12th to 9th, 12th I've put LAG. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
I don't have a lot of faith in them. I'm sorry. I just don't have a lot of faith in them.
Oh my gosh, that's mean. Okay.
It's just the way it is.
Hey man, that's fine.
11th place. I've had to sadly put my homeboys London. I don't think their roster is. Don't think it has any sort of lights out effect. I don't think there's ever a time that, other than maybe Dylan in that team, that you could sit there and go, you're 100 points down. Who's making that play to get you back in the game?
Don't even think Dylan's that guy, bro. I'll agree with that.
He's the only player that I would even say could do it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. All right.
10th place, I've put Surge.
Okay.
I feel like it's a pretty bog standard one. I feel like everyone kind of understands that.
Yeah.
And then 9th place again. It was hard to decide this one, but I did put Legion in 9th place.
The EU teams are getting slaughtered by the
Yes,
man. I mean, okay. I think you're being harsh on the Gorillas, man. I think you're being a little harsh on the Gorillas there.
All right.
But no, I mean, I think that's a pretty fair bottom four. I think like you said, man, I've got a team. You've got a team like the Ravens who are likely going to really struggle this year. You look at all the other rosters, and I don't see them matching up against the worst rosters. If you put them on paper against LAG, even then, I wouldn't put a lot of money that they'd be able to win that match. So I'm slotting the London Royal Ravens in at 12, and don't say shit about it. That's just a prediction because I went to CDL London last year. I got a shit ton of merch. I was repping my boys. I love the Ravens, man. They're second to me in terms of my favorite teams. But if I had to put money on them, I'm gonna slot them in at 12th. 11th. It was tough. I still don't rate the Gorillas that low. And I had my dark horse as Paris Legion, but if I were gonna put a lot of money on it, I would say the Legion are gonna finish right next to the Ravens at 11th.
Bold after calling them your dark horse.
But I still
Very
think that they can do a lot. It's just you look at that roster, and again, you just don't see anything that pokes out to you. I think a guy like Scraps can take over and say, guys, we got to buckle down, and he'll step up in those big situations against a team like the Ravens. But when you have all the other firepower that's out there in the league, you've got a rookie on your team and no, known historical veteran leadership that's going to come in and actually lead Fire to be the player that everyone thinks he can be. I think Paris are going to finish at 11th. Again, we talked about dark horses. I'm just saying as it is. I still think they can't be. I know it's a little bit contradicting, but I'm throwing curveballs, man. I'm trying to be interesting. I don't want to give you the same old bullshit. Read off a website. Here's my top 12. Here's some 12 to 1. But anyway, so 10th. I am going to slot LAG in 10th. I do think they finish. Right around 9th or 10th, but I'm going to put them at 10th because I do think that you're gonna go crazy for this, man. I think the New York Subliners are gonna inch them out at the 9th seed.
I'm gonna go crazy for that because that's you're talking about a 2-time back-to-back world champ on that team.
I am. I think
We'll see.
I'm throwing curveballs. I'd like to try to be as crazy as possible. But I think LAG finish in the 10th seed. I think New York Subliners come in at the 9th seed. I think Clay's going to struggle this year, man. There's a lot of main AR firepower out there, and he doesn't have the talent that other main ARs have. Again, I mentioned it earlier. Mac has the potential to struggle this year with only having the familiarity of Zuma around him, and I'm not sold on Diamond God, man. He's got to really, really show something for me to be able to really start rating him. That's 25% of your team is that one player. I just don't think he's going to do too much. That's for me, 12th through 9th. Moving on, though, as we start shaping up the top half, let's just go with 7 and 8. 8 first. Let's round out the bottom half of the league. Who do you got finishing 8th? Who do you got finishing 7th?
So now going against what I literally just said, I got NYSL at 8th.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, I am going to hate you, bro. I am going to get heated up. One more above me, bro. Get out of here. What are you talking about?
Had you asked me at the start of the season before their whole roster got turned inside out with Zuma retiring and Hydra not being able to get his visa, I would have ranked them higher. But it was looking at the rest of the top 7 that I've got here, I can see them struggling against a lot of them, and I couldn't bring myself to put them any higher.
It's crazy you say that, bro. It's kind of like I just said that. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, carry on, Stumpy.
I see Monk in the chat going, "And my top 6."
I don't see it, bro. I don't. I mean,
neither do I. But
I can respect it. But anyway, number 7. Let's round out the bottom half here.
And seventh place to round off the bottom half, I've put Toronto Ultra.
Okay.
Again, like they are a team that they have the ability, like they showed last year, to be one of the top teams. They can compete against the top teams. Just doing it consistently, I think, is where the issue's going to come for them. I think there'll be times where they can get to sort of semi-finals, maybe even a final. I think winning any major event is going to be a big struggle for them this year, which is why I've put them in seventh place to round off my bottom half.
I think it's fair.
But yeah, that was my reasoning behind the
Okay.
bottom half of the table.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So we've got Stumpy's bottom half. I'm gonna round out mine. I had NYSL at 9th. 8th, I got Seattle Surge. I know I talked about them having some struggles this year. I do like their roster. I think, last we saw Looney, I can play the game, man. And if Pristini finds any little bit of his own form, you got guys like Gunless and Octane. I mean, that is a good roster. That's a good roster. But I do see them struggling a bit to kind of reach the top 6. So I've got them in at number 8. And then number 7, I have the Minnesota Rocker. The reason why I'm putting the Rocker there is because, again, I know accuracy is actually better than what people are making him out to be. I don't like having him and Major Maniac on the same team. I think their play styles are way too similar, and I think they can both at the same time struggle as they tend to do throughout matches. So if you've got both of those guys struggling, I think Priesta is a game changer, obviously, and then you've got Attach on that team as well. That's right? Attach. I'm getting all my rosters mixed up.
Yeah, you got Priest and Attach.
Yeah, Priest and Attach, the SMG duo. I mean, they're going to be really good, but I'm gonna put them in at number 7. So there we go. I mean, we got some similarities, man. We've got some similarities. I think we can agree the bottom half is going to be around the same, but now it's going to get interesting. So top half. We're going to keep it 2 at a time. Let's go 5th and 4th seed. Who do we got?
So you mean 6th and 5th?
I mean 6th and 5th. Yeah, 6th and 5th. My bad, 6th and 5th.
So close to you. I put Rocker 6th.
Okay.
I think, like I said earlier, they would be my dark horse pick.
Yep.
I think they are. I can understand what you mean by accuracy and Major Maniac having very similar play styles. We did see in the kickoff weekend a couple of times Major Maniac was using a 74U, and he was useful with it. For my 5th spot, I put LA Thieves. It kind of hurt me to put them there being an LA Thieves fan this year.
Mm-hmm.
But the top 4, I don't see them being able to closely contend with the top 4 throughout the season to make it worth my time putting them in my top 4 personally.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. They could well blow me out the water. They could finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, whatever. But I put them 5th because I just don't think they're going to be able to hang with the rest for the majority of the season, sadly.
I think you're right, man. Yeah, I think you're right. I've got I'm gonna go with something interesting. So I think LA Thieves barely make top 6. I'm throwing them in at 6 for me. I've not seen TJ struggled last year. I think Kenny and Slasher are the duo that, I mean, they're going to perform. We saw what Kenny was able to do when his comm was actually decent, and how he performed in champs. But Temp, I mean, he's got a temper, and sometimes he just doesn't fit well and mesh well with other people. I know they wanted a team with him, but again, I talked about how he and TJ could possibly struggle as a duo. So I've got them finishing the year at the 6th seed. Do I think they make a run in champs? Yeah, I think they make a run in champs. But I think throughout the season they're going to struggle to kind of put things together for a little bit. And maybe Temp goes. Maybe someone like TJ goes. Maybe they bring someone else in. Draza maybe steps up and kind of fills the role he did last year. Comes off the bench and puts up decent numbers. I mean, he didn't perform poorly last year. So
no, not at all.
I mean, maybe something like that happens. But I got him finishing at 6th, and then similarly to you, but kind of flip-flopped, I've got Toronto Ultra coming in at 5th. Again, I really do think that that's a talented team and relatively underrated. I think they are going to win some events. They're going to put up some big numbers. And I think they're going to upset some teams. I think, if a team like Florida, Atlanta, Chicago, or even Dallas go into a match against Toronto Ultra, at least at the start of the year, they could possibly underestimate them. Even if they've performed poorly in scrims, I think that they've got a roster to be able to do something that we're not expecting. So I'm going to have them finishing at number 5. Now, with that being said, we're just gonna throw the top 4 in together, man. We're gonna throw the top 4 in together, and I want you to give me who you think's. I mean, we've got the same 4 teams up here. It's just a matter of what order they're gonna come in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Who do you got, man?
same goes for 5th to 7th. It was the same. It was just a throw up in the air.
Exactly. So tell me, come on, man. I'm dying to know. 4th to 1st.
I feel like I put Mutineers at 4th.
Woo!
I think they're going to be an insane team this year. But having sort of like Empire, Optic, and FaZe as your top 3, it's hard to say that you think Mutineers are going to throughout the season consistently be beating those top 3 teams. It's like you look at that FaZe roster, it's just player for player. You would pick most of, if not all of, the FaZe roster over Mutineers. And I think, yes, they did lose them in the kickoff weekend. I think it's only a matter of time before FaZe come through and they say, look, here's payback. There's a fat 3-0 on your forehead.
Fair enough, okay.
And then I think my top 3 might be a little bit controversial, in honesty.
Ooh, spill it. Come on, baby.
I put FaZe at 3rd.
Oh, shit! I did not expect that. Okay, go on.
Haven't been bigging them up pretty much all stream.
Yeah, you have.
Obviously, I'm not a FaZe fan. Obviously, I'm just a lover of Call of Duty at the end of the day. I think they're going to be really good. I don't think they have. Obviously, Arcetes is going to be their IGL this year. I don't think he has quite the experience that roster needs to take it as far as they did last year. Monkster agrees with me.
Yeah,
all love Monk. But like obviously you got the Tiny Terrors. They're gonna tear people absolute new ones whole year. But having sort of the top 2 that I've got here, I think they're teams that they've got a good enough IGL. You've got Crim on Dallas, and you've got Envoy, who's new to it this year. But alongside him, you have Formal, you've got Scump, you've got Dashi. It was a really tricky one to put FaZe 3rd for me. I think they're going to get a little bit too big for their boots, though. I think they're going to sort of beat some of these lower end teams like LAG, London, Legion, NYSL. And I think they're going to sort of maybe take their foot off the gas a little bit at the wrong moments. And I think it's going to hurt them for it.
Okay.
And
interesting.
Then,
I was surprised, man. You've been bigging up Atlanta, and I was like, all right, put Optic 3rd, go ahead, like really stir the pot with me. But I'm surprised, man. Okay, all right. So now down to the top 2. Go for it. Let's hear it, man.
I put Optic 2nd. It was really hard, because I looked at that Empire roster, right, and I said at the start of the year, how is that going to work? Because the start of the year there was obviously a very AR-based meta. A lot of the maps you'd be running sort of 3 ARs. And you look at that team and you think, you can't take Shotzzy off an SMG. You can't. There's no debate about it.
Nope.
You've then got Hook and Illy. Obviously, they're both incredible players, but you compare it to sort of the other rosters, and you'd say maybe like that Optic roster would be able to like pick it up a little bit better with a couple of ARs. You'd have Dashi and Formal, who are just insane on the ARs, and then you've got Envoy and Scump, who are they're just incredible players. But I put Optic 2nd because of the way that the meta has changed, and having watched Dallas scrim, they just have teams relentlessly. They literally have their way with nigh on everyone apart from maybe the other 3 in the top 4 there.
Okay. So
and then yeah,
we've got Dallas number 1.
Obviously, Dallas are number 1.
Jeez.
I think they're going to go back to back.
You think they're going to... Oh, so you're actually picking them to go back to back, not just finish top the league. You're picking them to win champs?
I think they're going to go back to back.
Holy shit, bro. You are getting under my skin today. Let me tell you what. My goodness
Give it to me.
Let me tell you something, man. We talk about curveballs. All right. This is a massive curveball. This is a big curveball. And I am going to agree with you, though. I am putting Florida at number 4. I agree with everything you said. I think that when push comes to shove, they've got a very good roster. But at the same time, you've had a guy like Slack who really, really struggled last year. He's looking good this year so far. But again, every player is 25% of your roster, and you need everybody to perform. I think they're going to consistently perform throughout the year, but when it actually comes down to beating these top 3 teams, I agree 100%. It's going to be really, really hard. Neptune's really showed us a lot, and he looks really good. But you've got experience and massive talent on these other 3 teams. So definitely putting Florida in number 4. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
But
and here comes the toss up.
Appreciate the follow, man. Yeah, here comes the toss up, dude. I've got my number 3 is going to be Empire, and the reason I say that, and let me specify something. I think there's a massive gap between the rest of the league and the 4th seed. I think there's also a massive gap between the 4th seed and the top 3. I think these are all a toss-up, and I think we all know that. Florida could absolutely push to make this work and finish in the top 3. I don't think they will. So I think anybody who watches Call of Duty can mix up this top 3 and give you a reasonable and sound reason why they put specific teams where. But I'm going to put Dallas at number 3. I think Shotzi's going to perform no matter what. Hook has looked really, really good so far, and Krim has slotted into that Maniar role extremely well. However, there's a lot more on their plates. This is their they talked about it last year, their first experience in Call of Duty. This is their first experience in 4v4 professional Call of Duty. So we'll see how, these 3 young guys respond to that. I think Krim, we all know what Krim's capable of. At some point Krim's going to have to fall off, man. But he's still performing, He's still putting up numbers. I just think now that you get a guy like Arcides finding his feet in the main AR role and a guy like Formo on that Texas internet, I don't think Krim stands a chance against those main ARs. Which leads me into my top 2. Drum roll, not that anybody gives a shit, but biasly I've got FaZe at number 2. And I think I'm going to explain a lot of this. This leads back to my MVP pick of the year. I've got FaZe at number 2. You can't say anything because you put him at number 3, and a lot of the reasons I put him at number 2 is some of the reasons why you put him at number 3. I think Arcides is going to be a little bit better at Maniar than kind of what we're expecting, at least right now. Celium is a monster of a player. And at any point, if Abizi and Simp are struggling, he's going to be the guy to step up and put up big numbers. End of story. But again, you got Simp and Abizi. They're performing consistently day in and day out every single match. It's tough to find matches where it's like, damn, they really had a hard time. So you're going to see players like that putting up big numbers. But obviously this leads. I've got Optic Chicago finishing atop the league, man. And the reason why I say this is a number of things. You've got the experienced, GOAT himself, Seth, coming back into form, man. He looks freaking good this year, man. Really freaking good. I know it's just been scrims, but the passion's back. He seems to really enjoy the game, and he's playing out of his freaking mind. You pair him with a guy like Envoy, who, was an S&D star last year and then really found form in Respawn as well. Those guys are looking really, really good together. Really good. So, moving into that flex role, I picked Dashy to be the MVP. Look at what he's been doing already. If he maintains that, there are some big ifs right here. This is a massive if. If Dashy can keep up the consistent showing up to scrims, get the attitude in check, and show us maturity. The talent is there, and he's taking that roster to the next level. But finally, you got one of the best guys to ever do it. Formal's on the Texas internet, man, and he is. You could tell it's a different player. He looks really, really good. And rarely is he outmatched by the other AR players in the league. So I've got Optic finishing atop the league. And if I were to put money on who's going to win, again, it's a toss-up. You can flip a 3-sided coin and go in any direction. But because I'm an Optic fan, I'm going to pick Optic. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if any of those top 4 teams, especially the top 3 teams, end up winning it all. But I'm hoping that Seth can end his career on a high note. You got to think that if he wins a chip this year, he might hang it up. The guy's got millions to go make elsewhere. He might just call it quits and pass the reins on to Envoy. So that's what rounds out the top teams for me, man. We seem to have some similarities, but a couple of flip flops here and there. Fifth
Yeah,
and sixth, third and fourth. I think it
it's
was
very
seventh and
interesting.
eighth. Yeah, it was cool because we didn't know this before we started the podcast. We were like, let's not tell each other, let's surprise each other, let's get genuine reactions. And I'm a little bit surprised at some of the rankings you have,
I
but
did tell you beforehand it was going to be a controversial one for a lot of people,
yeah,
and
yeah.
well, it is.
I mean, hey, I do. I'm surprised. I honestly thought you were gonna have FaZe finishing atop the league. I was surprised when you put him at third because I had him at second. Um, but it makes sense. Again, that top three is just they're clear cut and dry to me. The best three teams in the league. I mean, you got
Yeah.
Florida kind of reaching for that, but you get a guy like Neptune in and a guy who struggled. I think Skies and Awakening are just phenomenal. They're great
Yes.
players, but you know, Neptune new looks really good. Again, he's new, and a guy like Slack who struggled all year last year. So um, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But
I don't think you credit Florida as much as they probably should be. I think, especially having
no
what
respect.
happened in the off season with
Okay.
I think what you had happen in the off season with Florida, I think that's going to have a massive impact on a lot of drive for these players.
Yeah.
Um, Slacked especially. Obviously,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're
he
right.
was the one for one trade, fill in the boots of Pharaoh. Um, and I've already seen him put out tweets and stuff, basically saying that this whole year he's practically dedicating to Pharaoh,
Love it.
which was 100% the right thing to do. I'm sure it made a lot of people happy, myself included. Um, I, I, I don't think the top three is as clear cut as you think. I think the top four
Okay.
is very clear cut, though. I still think Mutineers will be able to contest with FaZe Optic and Empire, just not as consistently as those top three are going to contest with each other. Like, I'm expecting to see a lot of sort of really closely contested 3-1 series, game fives from that top three. And then
Really?
Mutineers, like, they've already shown they can beat FaZe, but it wasn't easy. They literally had to give it their all. Um, I do think Mutineers deserve a little bit more credit than what you maybe gave them there, but obviously it's your own opinion. You're entitled to it.
I mean, it's not that I'm trying to discredit them. I'm trying to give more credit to the top three teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Based on I know they performed really well, but like you said, FaZe are gonna. I think FaZe are gonna pick it up, and I'm not saying they're far apart. I think they're way above the rest of the league from five down. I think that's a massive gap. I just think there's a bit more of a gap right now. Again, these are based on what we see right now. We see guys like Neptune, we see guys like Slacked on this roster. Those are relatively not big question marks, but they're question marks. And could they compete for top three? Absolutely, man. But I just think they're a little bit further away than what some people may think. That's just my personal opinion, and maybe they
Yeah.
prove me wrong, man. Win it all for Pharaoh, dude. I'm all for that. May he rest in peace. And if they pull off something miraculous, I'd love to see it. I mean, they were underestimated all year last year, and maybe we're underestimating them again this year. But I think they're easily a top four team. I don't quite have them yet in that top three.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's a fair reasoning.
Fair enough. Right. Hey, man, we're coming to the end of the stream. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go over here. All right. Look at this. We've got
The
a
exciting times.
number generator. So what I'm going to do, guys, is the giveaway is officially closed. What's going to happen is what's going to happen is I am going to go over here to the likes. Okay. And whoever liked this tweet, right, we've got 53 likes. So I'm going to do 1 through 53 on the random number generator. We're going to go in. Obviously, you have to meet the requirements of the giveaway. I'm going to go in, make sure that person retweeted the tweet as well, commented two people down below, and followed us. So that's what we're going to do, and then we're going to end the stream, guys. So let's do it. 1 through 53, you guys can see it here. Any hype for the giveaway, right? Like, how many people do we have in the stream, bro? Like, I don't even know. 15 people?
Got 15
I think,
right
yeah,
now.
I think we've been sitting at 15. That's not too bad for a Sunday night podcast, man. I'm not bad. I ain't mad. I appreciate you guys, tuning in. We got a couple of followers, man. And while we're waiting for everybody to kind of get excited, the return happened. So I was like a kid in a candy shop yesterday, man. I got to cast for X, and I casted for that Chelsea tournament yesterday, which I fucking loved, man. It was awesome. So on the weekends, if I'm available, which most of the time I pretty much am, any weekdays, not many weekdays because of the time difference. But on the weekends, I want to keep casting. So going to try to get back to that and do a lot more. Obviously, I told you guys I want to stay as involved as possible. Don't care if you love me. Don't care if you hate me. I'm here. I'm here to stay. So get over it. If you're in the stream and you're listening to that, yeah, something's connected to me somehow. So, but anyway, we're going to roll into it, man, and generate the random number. It's going to be 18. Who is number 18, bro? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we've got the little Batty. Let's make sure that they commented here. So let's see. Emma is the name of the account.
Here we go.
Uh-oh. This is going to be disappointing. There's no comment from Emma on this at all.
Damn, that's a shame.
That is a shame. That
So
was a
close.
requirement, guys. Tag 2 friends below. That was a requirement. Emma, sorry about your luck. New number 22. Actually, let's
It's
reset.
my birthday.
Should we reset this, guys? Or are you guys good with 22? Should I refresh the page and redo it? Or
I mean, it's still a random number, really, isn't it?
fair enough, 22 it is. Emma was 18. 19, 20, 21, 22. Forever Houdini. Whoever that is. All right, let's see. Forever Houdini, have you commented on the page? It's Raj's brother. Oh, no. Okay. He's commented. He's tagged Sirens and Woola. Not really the purpose of it, but he did tag 2 people. Has he retweeted? That's checkmark number 2. 48 retweets. Let's see. It's pretty straightforward. He's got the italics. There he is right there. And is he following? Guys, we are 9 followers away, man. 9 followers away from 500. Come on, man. Help us get there, guys. See if this guy's following. Can I just search right here? Or it should say follows you next to him, yeah?
Yeah, if you search for his name and click on his account, it will say follows you.
He follows. That is the winner. Is Siren's brother, man. Your older brother just won a freaking giveaway. So he gets 2 tubs of Sneak and a shaker. Tell him to DM the Elysian account. And let us and we'll sort it out in terms of getting it sent over to him. But congrats to Raj's older brother on winning the giveaway, man. We're gonna do more of this stuff. I want to keep giving away. Wake, you want to get an MCA MVP prediction, huh? Because here's the thing, bro. You want me to say you, don't you?
Well, I'm going to say Tiny, so unlucky Wake.
Unlucky! Mug said Tiny too. Bro, I feel like you guys are on a telepathic, connection here, bro. What's going on? He agrees. Like, you guys are agreeing with each other all the time and stuff.
He's actually behind me in my bed, just chilling out, so...
Didn't need to know that. Fair play. Interesting enough. So, MCA MVP. Dude, I don't know, man. I gotta go through kind of all the...
I'm not even sure who the teams are.
I mean, dude...
it's all on Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna... I can't be asked to do that, bro. I mean...
it's only between 2 or 3 teams, really, isn't it?
I mean, X or Aspects are going to win it all, so that's said and done. I guess if we got to pick an MVP from one of those teams, I mean, Tiny's going to be up there. Wake, do I think you're an MVP candidate? Yes. Do I think you win it? Nope. Tiny's just in sort of that flex role to where he's got more of an ability to win the MVP, but yeah, I think Tiny's a really good candidate. I also think a guy like Shandy from Green is going to be an MVP candidate. That guy's really fucking good at Call of Duty.
Sack.
I mean, if Sack played more than an hour a day, yeah.
Yeah, that would help.
Sure,
the guy
yeah.
shoots absolute shot. If Aspects play as well as they did in the first Millsy tournament, I genuinely think they could give give a good show for themselves, and I
I think
think
they
Sag could
will.
be up there.
I think they will. I think Aspects will make a really good run and see you I see you guys in top 4. Zach, play the game more. So definitely Shandy. Spaz definitely could from Clarity Green. I mean, they've got a loaded 4-man. But I think Shandy, Tiny. If I were to go with one more, Clarity Purple have a pretty decent 3-man right now. It could be a guy like Lucas. Good
Is he on
player.
Clarity Purple?
Yeah, I think they're with Clarity Purple now. I think they're looking for
I
one
didn't know this.
at the moment. But Raj, sorry, not going to be you. I love you, man, but sorry, dude. I'm sorry, man. You couldn't even win the fucking giveaway. You think you're gonna win the MVP, bro? What the fuck? Your brother won the giveaway, bro. Oh shit. I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding. I know, Wake, you're kind of Lucas feedback, and he may not. Esports Wales, bro. Yo, you guys want me to get into this for about 5 minutes? You want me?
Jeez, the boys want it, man.
You
It's in
guys
the
want me to
chat.
get into that for a little bit? Let me tell you something right now, bro. Esports Wales is getting the smoke. This is
I think it's
recorded. This is
I think it's
recorded.
the other team. Is it you? Is it Tan or is it La?
If it's La, love those guys, man. Hope you guys do well.
They're all sound.
Is it Esports Wales Team 10?
I'm just about.
That's
to
La?
have a
Okay,
look
fair
on
enough.
Twitter
All right.
for you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's probably because Esports Wales, whatever, Ta, whatever, didn't want or Tan didn't want the smoke.
Yeah.
It's a shame that Law's actually got the confidence to put themselves in tournaments, but you got guys being a detriment to people's mental health on the Twitter timeline, and they don't even have the courage to enter a tournament. So hey, it is what it is. Yeah, whenever you guys are ready, bro, let me know, because we got a few guys who would love to get into that action. So anyway, then we don't have to get into that. Best of luck to Law. I hope they do really well. I actually really like those guys. I actually filled for that scrim. They're too big time. What have they placed? Like top like 264 or something in 2K? Whatever.
Who is it? Who is that?
I think what I mean, Wake said 10 are too big. Are they like top 250 in the country? On the 2K or some shit?
No, he's saying they're too big time because they all think they're hard as nails, but in actual fact they're all just a bunch of melts.
I mean, dude, let's be honest, bro. Like, you could have max PPs and still be shit. I could play PPs and be on max, and guess what, dude?
Look at Kiwi, man. The guy's got like a 90 neg record.
I'm not talking about Kiwi, bro. I don't want to
PPs.
diss track, bro. I don't want to diss track, so good luck with that. But no, yeah. So I have a lot of respect for Law. I think those guys are really good guys. But Team 10, yeah, don't like your attitude. So, who we beefing today was fun last night. Oh man, that beef last night was mad fun, dude. We had people worked up, dude. These Basilisk boys were pissing people off last night. They couldn't take the heat, bro. It was hilarious. No, it's just those Team 10 guys from Esports Wales. They're a bunch of, I don't respect them, man. And I'll say it. We got Mason in our group prediction. In our group prediction, submit that proof. What proof? We talking about? Oh man, if we're here to chat, man, everybody's in the chat now, dude. We might as well keep going for a little bit longer. Hell yeah, dude. What proof, monks? That Wake's got walls?
I've seen the clip and like you would think from the other end, that's a little bit sus, but you just got to know Wake to understand that the guy is just next level player. He's the next simp.
I mean, he got the call out, man. Wake gave him the gunny.
Oh, you got the call. I didn't even know he had the call out.
Yeah, he had the call out, bro. Yeah.
Oh, even better.
He
pre-fire.
Standy v Harry round 2, bro. I ain't dealing with that shit. I got into too many arguments for a little bit there, bro. I'm chilling for a little bit. That's why I was just chilling against, like, when Natalie was piping up and shit in that chat yesterday. I was just like, whatever. Like, you're just acting like a child. Like, come on, man. You need to chill out. We all won't. Yeah, fair enough. Wake, I know. PS5, man. You got everything on that thing. Huh. Wake cheats so much it looks like he's on PS5 when he's actually on PC. That's how much he cheats. Like,
he's got such good cheats, he changes the BattleNet symbol to a PS symbol.
Exactly,
Just so he doesn't get called out for it.
Exactly,
It's
bro.
It's 2000 IQ, man.
It really is. It's next level shit, man. It really is. But you got a guy like Smithy who can do whatever he wants to do, and everybody's like, "Nah, he's not cheating. It's good, man. I can see a stream," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, whatever you say. Take that out." Cronus cost me 60 quid. Oh man.
I love
Don't even,
that.
dude. Don't even. Yeah, yesterday was entertaining, man. I'm not sure if you were in that stream too much. I had fun casting. It was difficult for sure with how it was set up. Um, Definitely difficult, but I had a great time, man. It felt good to be back, and I 100% Wake. Yeah, Wake's 100%, bro. Um, I loved being able to pop a stream up um and cast for X, and I was able to cast throughout much of that tournament. It was good, man. I loved it. I appreciate that, Mace, man. I miss it, dude. I miss it, man. I am available on weekends, like I've told pretty much everyone, man. It'd be about a noon cast for me because that 7 hour difference. But I mean, dude, I'm down, man. I missed it, dude. I fucking missed it, dude. I agree, bro. It wasn't it in the tournament. I think when you fucking popped off on Hardpoint, son of a bitch. It
I
was
don't remember that map.
nah, dude. He went nuts.
I suck.
It was Gunrunner. Yes, Gunrunner, bro. I think he went like triple pause in like the semis, dude. Yeah, yeah. He popped off that map, dude. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I was actually. What's funny enough is I'm trying to put like intermission montage. So when I do stream or like cast like tournaments and shit, and I go from round to round, if I take an intermission, then I have like a clip of like people's gameplay like alongside like my like casting stuff. So it's like highlights, like people have like clipped stuff on my Twitch and everything that you know, I've got saved. So I'm trying to put that together, which would be pretty cool. But hit Final Form that shit to bed, dude. I mean, you guys are probably fucking just exhausted, man. That was a long tournament. I mean, both the tournaments I had were they were long, dude. Sack, your name's Sack, dude. Like, come on, man. Like,
All suck.
let's relax a little bit, bro. Come on now. Don't be beefing people when your name's Sack, unless their name is worse than Sack. Come on, man. Like
Sorry, what did you just say?
worth instead of worse. A little bit.
Excuse me?
Zach with the sub, dude. 6 months, baby. 2 subs in the stream. Let's get it. Yeah, Zach, bro. Like Benjamin. Ooh, yeah. Benjamin ain't it. Benjamin ain't it, bro. Oh, Benjamin.
What about Kyle?
Fuck yourself.
How
How about that, dude? How about that? Fucking asshole. Thanks. Better than Sack, dude. Sack, dude, you don't want me to get going, dude. Trust me, you don't want me to get going. Fucking says I'll scrim and goes to pick up a washing machine just before. Mister, I'll play scrims, but show up and only get on for an hour a day. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know, man. You know what? You know what's funny is I specifically remember Sack linking his Twitch every time he went live and was begging for viewers to hit affiliate because he couldn't do it on his own. And that's tough, dude. That's tough. That's real tough. Go on, Sack. Go on. Tell me something. Tell me something. I'm not paying entry to tournaments for picking up fucking washing machines. I'm paying fucking Call of Duty tournament entries. Duh. Come on, man. Gotta play the fucking game. Play the game. Think what would Wake say? I don't think we have that mindset, bro. That's why we're not beefing, my brother. Because I know I'm gonna get embarrassed. It just happens that way.
What would Wake say?
What would Wake say? Wake would say something silly. No, it would be
Wake would say something to get the stream taken down.
100%. Anyway, guys, Sirens, if you're still in, bro, have your brother message the Elysian Twitter Twitter account, and I'll get him sorted out with the giveaway. We'll do another one coming up really soon. Help us out, guys. We're like 10 followers away. Super Bowl predictions. Okay. All right. I
don't know anything about NFL, but what's the teams?
Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we've got the Patrick Mahomes, the young man stepping up against Tom Brady. Here's my thing. So I was talking to Laura earlier, and I was saying, she's like, who are we cheering for? Like, honestly, like, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan because I'm from North Carolina, and the Panthers have been dog shit for a while. And the Bucs are in the division, so that's why I'm like, I don't really want the Bucs to win. But then you get Tom Brady, who the Patriots were like, dude, you don't have anything left in the tank. We're not going to re-sign you. He goes to the Bucs. He takes them all the way to the Super Bowl. Winning the Super Bowl would be the ultimate slap in the fucking face, man. So that would be great. But then you got Patrick Mahomes, man, and the Chiefs. And again, it's the Bucs are in the same division as the Panthers. I'm just like, nah, fuck that. I don't really want that. So I'm 50-50 on it. If I watch any of it, I probably won't. I'm just going to chill with Laura, honestly. I'm going to spend some time with her today. It's only half 2 right now. We got to do some shopping in a little bit. But, I mean, if I were to put money on it, I would say that Kansas City are going to win. I just think they're really, really fucking good. And Tampa Bay, they haven't really looked great. Their defense have made a lot of plays for them. So they haven't looked fantastic. Tom Brady threw 3 picks against Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. So you're not going to stop Mahomes. It's just a matter of how much can you control how many points he puts on the board. So, anyway, Washington Reds, dude, they're not the Redskins anymore, bro. Like, somebody doesn't follow American football. Mango, delete that shit if you can. I beg. Jesus. Oh my God. You just don't say stuff that you don't know anything about. It's the Washington football team. They had to rebrand, dude.
Oh,
You're like everybody who keeps mispronouncing Elysian. Come on, man.
You mean Elysian?
Elysian. 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 Bro, I was so pissed off yesterday. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna play some tunes, man. I'm gonna throw up the ending screen. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Stumpy, dude, thank you so much, man. Back-to-back weeks.
Thank you for having me again, bro. I love being here, man. Honestly,
it's good fun, man. It's good fun. I loved it. It was I think we went over a lot of CDL stuff, guys. We're gonna put another poll on Twitter. Make sure you guys vote on that poll. If you want to be a guest, dude, fucking DM me, man. I want to get more people in here. I don't want it just to be a Legion. I want to get different people's perspective on things. And even if we have to rotate a few people in and out, if you can't, Wig said no more Stumpy, please. There's a reason why I didn't ask you, Wig, so shut your mouth. But if you want to be on the stream or on the podcast, guys, let me know, man. I would love to have more people on here. It's going to be a weekly thing. As much as I can do it, I will. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Thank you guys so much. I'll put the poll on Twitter. Make sure you vote for next week's topics. And we'll see you guys again soon, man. Take care. Peace out.
I hop out the car, leave the motor running. Why you always talking like you know something? Why you always talking, gon' show 'em something? No stunt double, I do my own stunt. Could take a year, I'll still have that paper coming. Put like 10 on the 90, I keep it so on it. All in the club, we don't do no clubbing. Throw like 10 on the 90, I keep it so on it. Orange label, I might pop me too. I was getting money, but they didn't have a clue. Caught the Porsche coming powder blue. Hit the top, we don't need the roof. Fools know we made the rules. I'm with the club, posted by the marina. Eating fruits, looking at views that you never could dream of. Getting served all this paper, I'm not talking subpoena. Gotta flow like a river, but you won't find one that's cleaner. No stunt double, I do my own tricks. I got hits on hits, this like my bat flip. Mind on my money, low where my palm itch. Took the slow lane cruising, now look we all rich. I hop out the car, leave the motor running. Why you always talking like you know something? Why you always talking, gon' show 'em something? No stunt double, I do my own stunt. Could take a year, I'll still have that paper coming. Put like 10 on the 90, I keep it so on it. All in the club, we don't do no clubbing. Throw like 10 on the 90, I keep it so on it. Could never take a handout. New cars, bigger house, everything was planned out. 2020 hindsight, noticing how I panned out. Never did too much, never wanted to stand out. Spent plenty in my 20s, no place empty. God sent me, keep it thorough, this not trendy. Don't tempt me, on the edge and I'm sick. See them stealing my moves, hear them jacking my lyrics. But Chris can never dance like Mike, and Floyd can never hit like Tyson. I am who I am, never tripping, I just stick to the plan. And if I trip, it's to a beach, I put my toes in the sand, silly.